Gee, Rain, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
They're Pinky and the Brain. Yes, Pinky and the Brain. One is a genius, the other's insane. They're laboratory mice. Their genes have been spliced. They're Pinky and the Brain. Brain, 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 brain.
Welcome to Pinky's Podcast, Week 12, everybody's favorite episode of the year. The one where you get to watch me do fucking Rain Man math and figure out who's in the playoffs and who's out. Should be interesting. This year, not quite as bad as previous years. Gonna do scores first, so everybody knows who won, who lost. Then we're gonna get into what needs to happen for the teams on the bubble to make the playoffs. Like I said, not as complicated as years past. I think the first year we had like 7 teams tied going into the last week, and that was a fucking shit show. And also, the tiebreaker was fucked up that year, so that was really difficult to figure out. So, hopefully this year I actually get it right. Should be interesting, though. So, first up, we had Kyle Fayola beat the shit out of Espo. Thank God I needed that. That was 126.5 to 71. Pretty big game out of Kyle. 126.5. Gonna win you most weeks. 71 points. Not gonna cut it most weeks for Espo. What hurt Espo is the Saints scored 49 points. Brandon Cooks, #1 wide receiver, put up 0. He didn't have a catch because we do half-point PPR, so you'd have half a point if you fucking caught the ball one time. He also got 0 points out of Vinatieri, who's been pretty reliable, I think, so far this year. In a 55.5 point difference of a game, I don't think bench points make a difference, so I'm not even gonna fucking check, I suppose. Next, we had Barnesy beat the shit out of Mayette. Doubled them up, pretty much. 130 to 65.5. I mean, when you put up 65.5, nobody really had a good game for you. I guess he had Michael Crabtree with 15 points for Mayette. Not very good. And when you put up 130, pretty much everybody has a good game for you. Bench points, once again, don't matter. So Barnesy wins, Mayette loses. Barnesy's now 7-5, Mayette 6-6. Going back to the previous matchup, Fayola's 8-4, and Espo's 6-6. Then we had Ben. Once again, there were no close matchups this week. Ben put an absolute beat down on Kyle Cabral, 138.5 to 81. Once again, you put up 138.5 points. You're winning most weeks. It's a very good score. That means everybody on your team did well, or at least halfway decent, and you had some monster performances. Ben finally stopped playing Carson Palmer. That worked out well for him. Kirk Cousins played well. For Kyle, 81 points, not very good. Not going to win you most weeks. No particularly bad performances, but nothing very good either. Once again, 57-point game. I'm not even looking at the fucking bench points. And then Dwyer has just fucking turned it on lately. I guess once he was mathematically eliminated after 2 weeks, he decided he was going to start trying and playing guys who actually perform. He beat Eddie. I feel like this is also because I said Kyle, Fayola, and Eddie were guaranteed to get into the playoffs because they both played Dwyer. Turns out Dwyer beat both of them. So, good for Dwyer. Kyle and Eddie are still in the playoffs anyway, because they beat whoever the fuck else they played the other weeks. Oh, Kyle beat, I don't know, whoever the fuck I just said he beat earlier this week. This one was the closest matchup that we had this week. It was 112.5 for Dwyer, 89 for Eddie. But Eddie's team seems like they might kind of be slipping. I don't know what he scored last week, but 89 is a very low score for Eddie's team. he still had Mike Evans who went off with 26 points, but Eddie keeps playing Jack Doyle, who last week put up a goose egg, this week put up 3 points. He does have Gronk on his bench, so if Gronk ever gets healthy, that might be dangerous, but tight end seems to be a very weak position for Eddie currently. And Dwyer, congratulations on maybe improving your rank in the consolation bracket. I think you're so far out you can't even manage that. But good luck to you if you can somehow find a way to move up to the 9 seed in our fucking league. Dwyer's gonna come in 5th and just win the consolation bracket just because I feel like every year whoever finishes in last place or second to last somehow finds a way to just turn it on for the last 4 weeks of the season and actually have a respectable rank when it comes to the final seeding. And last but not least, I beat Davis 123.5 to 94.5. It wasn't even a fight. Davis had a pretty good game last night to kind of bring him back into things, and a good Sunday night too. But by the end of the 4 o'clock games on Sunday, I knew I was winning this. There was no doubt in my mind. So the 25.5 points from Emmanuel Sanders, the 22 from Aaron Rodgers, doesn't fucking matter. I won this very comfortably. No doubt whatsoever. I had some pretty big games. Hopefully carry this over. Seems like my team only fucking plays for me when my back's up against the wall and I need a win, which will be the case next week, so hopefully it continues. So, now for the standings, Barnsy's 7-5 leading the East Division. Then it's me, Espo, and Mayette all tied for second in that order as far as the tiebreaker goes. I have that tiebreaker very comfortably, though, by about 150 points. So, I like that quite a bit. Then, in the West Division, we have Eddie and Kyle Viola tied for first. Eddie has the points for by about 50 points. So, barring a terrible week for him and a huge week for Kyle Viola, Eddie has the number 1 seed. They're playing each other, so that might flip. So whoever wins that has the 1 seed. I stand corrected. Then, in 3rd place in that division, since there's a tie for first, there's Ben at 6-6. Then Davis at 5-7. He's eliminated from the playoffs, and Kyle Cabral at 4-8, also eliminated from the playoffs. Dwyer is actually now 4-8, so Kyle and Dwyer are tied for last place in the league. Not a good place to be. So next week we have a couple of pretty insignificant matchups. First we have Kyle versus Dwyer. Kyle Cabral versus Dwyer. So that'll decide who gets last place for the regular season, who's the 9 seed, who's the 10 seed. Although if Davis loses, there might be, let me check the points for. If Davis loses, then whoever wins that will probably be the 8 seed. Davis will be the 9 seed, and then the loser of that will be the 10 seed. That would back me out. Fucking week 13. I hate this goddamn app. Then we have Eddie versus Kyle Viola. Like I said, they're going to play each other to see who gets first place in their division, who gets second place. That'll decide who's the 1 seed in the playoffs, who's the 3 seed. Because there's a very slim chance of anybody catching up to either one of them. If Kyle Viola wins, then I might have a chance to jump him and become the 1 seed if I win. But I'll need about a 25-point win, which might be kind of tough to do in 1 week, make up that much of a point differential. But we'll see. Next we have Espo is facing Davis. then so I'm gonna skip over what these teams need to do and just kind of sum it up all at once. So it's Espo versus Davis, Mayette versus Ben, and me versus Barnsey. So, from what I've come up with here, I'm pretty sure this is accurate. I did about 10 minutes worth of research to figure this out. Real hard investigating. If Barnsey and Ben win, they're in. So it'll be Barnsey, Ben, Eddie, and Kyle Faola. If Ben and I win, we're in. Because Ben should have more points than Barnsey, barring like a fucking miracle. Right now, for points for Barnsey's at 1,220, Ben's at 1,296.5, so 76.5 points. I don't see that difference being covered in 1 week. And then the other scenario is Barnsey wins, Brian wins, and Espo wins. If that's the case, then Brian would have to win by Brian would have to have 14.5 points more than Espo to create a tie. I don't even fucking know what the second tiebreaker is. I don't know if we have a second tiebreaker. It might just be an ESPN default thing. So that would be just the perfect shit show scenario where everybody's bitching. If Brian wins by 114.5, Espo wins with 100 points. Fucking disaster. That's gonna happen somehow. That's just the way my fucking life works. And then I'll have to deal with whoever loses the second ESPN tiebreaker, bitching and moaning. Yeah, the other scenario is Barnsey wins, Brian wins, and Espo loses, and then Brian wouldn't have to worry about the tiebreaker. That would leave Barnsey at 8-5, Brian at 7-6, and everybody else would be 6-7. So that's playoff scenarios. Should be an interesting week. Pretty nice that we have 3 matchups that are like the playoff contenders going head to head. The other 2 matchups really don't fucking matter. Should be interesting. So good luck to everybody besides Barnsey. I need to beat him and I'm in. So that's my goal this week, is beat Barnsey. I don't think it'll be an easy task whatsoever, but I'm confident in my team. Not really, but they do seem to show up whenever I actually need a win. It's just whenever I'd like a win that they fucking shit their pants. So, need a win to get in this week. And if I do, hope to make some noise in the playoffs. Have a good week, everybody but Barnsey. Still love you though, bud.